Yo, yo. How we doing, everybody? Um, we are back. I am making this kind of channel in conjunction with my other channel, um, or it with my other series, I guess, so to speak. It's just I want to talk more about a Blazer specifically. So this channel will be more related to like talking right before and after Blazers games, stuff like that, reacting to like wins and losses, rather than like kind of whole league NBA stuff. That my Team on Three channel or Team on Three series will be about as well. So I'll be posting on the same account. I'm just going to be doing other videos outside of that Team on Three series that I'm doing. So this is just kind of the first installment of my initial like Blazers video and kind of what they're doing right now. But let's start off like they're won 4 out of 5 games. Feel pretty good, honestly, right now. Lost a close one to Cleveland, which sucked. We're up, I think, 18 in the third. I think as much as like 20 plus they were up. So tough one to lose in OT. Mobley fouls out. 53 overall fouls in this game. It was really just a sloppy game. Like, I think I like saw that was the most fouls called in a game since like the 50s, something crazy. So it was just one of those things where the game was sloppy. Nobody ever really got a rhythm. It was kind of, stagnant back and forth at times, stuff like that. Blazers battled. They were up majority of the game. And then just towards the end, DeAndre Hunter really took over. I think he had a game high 34, maybe. It was crazy. He was going off. And then for the Blazers, Denny Advi had 30, 10, and 12, 10 assists, 12 rebounds. It was awesome performance by him, but that's been the only Blazers loss in the last four or in the last 5 games. So they're 4 of the last 5. Yeah, and that Cleveland game was a heartbreaker. Put up a good test, though. Kind of showed where the Blazers want to be eventually in a few years. So it was cool to kind of see what it took to battle with a team like that. Sorry if I get distracted. Also, I got the Bucks are playing the Hawks right now as well. So I'm watching that. And then just recently over that 5-game stretch, like we've had a couple guys that have just been like studs. Like you got Tamani, you got Denny, you got Sharp. And those are just the 3 names I've written down. But like Tamani is slowly making a case to be a top defender in the NBA. Just, I mean, in the Cleveland game specifically, I mean, he's already held Halliburton to 0 points in a game. He held LaMelo to, one of his lowest scoring nights, terrible efficiency, in Garland in this game. And then in the Cleveland game, Darius Garland, he goes for, oh man, I don't know if I could pull it up fast enough. But let's see. It was terrible. He had 12 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. So he distributed the ball well. But like you got, I wish I could go back through the log. Schedule and replays. I'm just on ESPN right now. Cleveland 50 and 10 is insane. Yeah, so they win against Portland 133-129. Here's the crazy thing. In this game against Cleveland, Darius Garland, so Donovan Mitchell's out. He's not playing. Darius Garland is their primary guy. And we go here to Darius Garland, who shoots 4 for 16, 2 for 7 from 3, 3 for 4 from field goal, or from the free throw line, in 40 minutes. So Tamani holds him to 12 points, 4 for 16, and 2 for 7 from 3. Plus minus of minus 10. Against probably one of the best ball handlers in the league, on the best offense in the league, with the best defense in the league. One of those things that's just, at the end of the game, you're like, wow. To double up with that as well, like Tamani played 43 minutes, 7 for 11 from the field, 3 for 5 threes, 2 for 2 free throws, and he finishes with a plus 10. Turnovers 4, personal fouls 4, but he has 4 steals, 2 assists, 5 rebounds, and 19 points in 43 minutes with a plus 10. That's great, and that's all we can ever ask from a guy like that, who last year was getting, reamed for being an offensive liability, and now he's one of the best defensive players in the league. So that's something you love to see, and that's something that, like, as a Blazers fan, you root for, night in, night out. Denny's been awesome. Once again, super effective on the defensive end, but he's also shooting the third most free throws in the NBA, and he's great in our transition game. He leads our transition breaks every time we go, pretty much. He's either getting free throws, distributing, or he's getting a bucket. Not a lot of turnovers, not a lot of charges, not a lot of anything through that process, which has been awesome. So that's been something that is super exciting to watch, and especially like when you go on runs like we did earlier this year where you got 10 out of 11 games won, or 4 out of 5 games won. Like, this is something you see really good teams do, is have trends of positive wins and also positive losses. Like the Cleveland loss, once again, we're down 18, or we're up 18. We want to close that game out as much as possible, but also we're in a situation where the Blazers haven't held a lead and needed to keep it a ton, and really want to work on that against a great team like Cleveland, who is a contender, in the NBA, stuff like that. And then finally, I want to touch on some other team stuff and talk about that for the majority of the rest of the video. But we're in a situation now where it's like, the standings for me are pretty clear. The playoffs are pretty clear for me. I mean, I really only see Cleveland or Boston in the East, as much as I'd love for the Bucks to go do something. I really only see Cleveland and Boston being a final outcome in the conference finals. And then I really couldn't choose from there. Hard to choose against Boston, if I'm being honest and, top of the mind, authentic. But one of those things where in the West, you now have a Nuggets team who is not, what everybody thought they were going to be, and not looking to make the moves everybody thought they were. Like, it really just looks like the Jokic show, and people are kind of figuring out how to defend that. He's getting double teamed a lot. It's just one of those things where it's like they're hitting that part of the season where it's a little bit of a lull, and you can't hit that lull right now. Sorry, I got a heater on underneath me. I got to turn off. There we go. Anyways, so that's one thing I look at, because Oklahoma City is still the clear favorite for me, with their 2 bigs that are awesome. Some other stuff with Key. I mean, SGA is one of the best players in the league. So that's nothing to bat an eye at. The Lakers are also good. I don't think the Lakers I think their ceiling is the conference finals. Ceiling is the conference finals. I don't think they can get past that. They don't match up well against others in terms of their big play. And at the end of the day, if you just switch everything and put Luke on the primary ball handler on defense, he's going to get picked apart and cooked. So one of those things where it's really tough to be successful, or really get to the finish line with a guy like that. I understand he went to the finals last year with a Mavs team that was playing great defense, but also once you got to the finals, it was ball screen, switch everything, and go to work on Luka, and it worked every time, every single time. So that's where my mind goes in terms of them going all the way. I understand you have LeBron, but also he's 40, and so he's not in. I don't think he has the ability to carry a team like that anymore, as much as he is pretty much doing that now. So that team, I primarily worry about defense in terms of them making that big move and ending at the top of the mountain. But what I really want to talk about is you have a really tight race in the area from 7 to 10, and now there's 2 teams that are in between the Blazers and the play-in. The 10 seed right now is the Mavericks, and the 11 seed is the Kings. The Kings. I'm going to do another fact check real quick. This one will be faster. So right now, Western Conference standings as is today, the 4th of March. It is Oklahoma City 1, Los Angeles 2, Nuggets 3, Memphis 4, Houston 5, Golden State 6, Clippers 7, Sacramento's 8, Minnesota is 9, Dallas is 10, Phoenix is 11, and the Blazers are 12. So the Phoenix Suns are currently like I'm Canadian. The Phoenix Suns are currently a half game in front of the Blazers. So they have 1 less loss than the Blazers do. They're The Suns are 28-33. The Blazers are 28-34. So, and the Suns are currently playing some of the worst ball I've seen right now. They're falling apart. Devin Booker has just gotten told to be less vocal to the media, be less vocal, and he was told that by Mike Budenholzer, who that's your franchise guy. You don't want him to leave. You want him to be a lifer in Phoenix, and you're going to tell him to shut up and dribble. Basically, it doesn't make any sense to me. But KD's gone this offseason. Just vibes are down in Phoenix, and I can see that. Let's talk about Dallas now, because Dallas has to probably have had the unluckiest month of basketball I've ever seen. One of those things where you're like, you make it, horrific trade. Nico Harrison makes a horrific trade for the organization, doesn't consult anybody. Then the next move is bring AD back. AD apparently comes back before he's supposed to, before he was fully cleared medically, or before he was, scheduled to come back, brought him back a little bit early. That hurts. That hurts me. That makes me be like, we're not doing this the right way. Or, we don't have the right ideas in mind. You then lose, oh my gosh, what's Hardy's first name? Anyways, Hardy on the Mavericks, you lose him to an ankle injury. You lose Caleb. Oh my gosh. You lose Caleb Martin. I'm sorry, brain fart. You lose Caleb Martin. And now, as of today, breaking news, like I said, March 4th, Kyrie's out for the season with an ACL tear, which sucks. Like, quick recovery. I hope everything goes well. Wish nothing but the best for Kyrie, because he's insane, and just a awesome player. So in reality, when I look at the Mavericks, I see them depleted now for the rest of the year, and I'm like, where this opens up an opportunity for the Blazers to do something really cool. But also, we're going to be competing with teams that are the Clippers, the Kings, the Timberwolves, and the Blazers. If we get to that point, right? If we get to that point eventually. So now we are thinking about this, logically. It's a long shot to really make the playoffs out of that scenario for us, but it can be done. But here's my real thought. We have been not very successful against the Clippers. The Kings are dropping. We have to make up 5 games to be really in the hunt here, or 4 to 5 games to really be in the hunt. I feel okay about the Kings. I feel okay about Minnesota. The issue with Minnesota is we swept them back-to-back games earlier this year when they had Anthony Edwards. We played them recently without Anthony Edwards, and we get blown out by 30. And so it's like, very interesting dynamic. And that's part of being a rebuilding franchise and being a part of a team that really aspires to be like an Oklahoma City or a Houston or something like that. A team that's really fast-paced, young, can do those things, really climb the mountain and take the regular season seriously with their, length, athleticism, youth, stuff like that. But I would worry about the Clippers, obviously, and then it's not our year. Making the playoffs would be huge and it'd be a big step for us. But if I think about the necessities of the Blazers organization, I'm on the side of going to the playoffs. I think that there just needs to be winning in Portland again. We are not a Charlotte. We're not a Washington. We're not a Toronto, where it's like we're okay being mediocre. And I don't want to be like that in any scenario. So I definitely am on the side of push for wins, because this team has showed you they can win and compete against decent teams. It's just, once again, it's beating the teams that you quote unquote should beat. And taking care of business when you need to. That's the hardest part of having a young team. So right now, that's kind of where my head's at. It sucks that Dallas kind of did things this way. Mostly just the injuries, I would say. Like the trade itself, obviously, no, I don't have any sympathy for Nico Harrison. He made a terrible deal and it, burned the squad. But like, we've talked about this enough. You criticize a guy for weight and conditioning, and then you go and get AD, who is, health and conditioned, but he's, they call him, glass ankles AD, or, things like that. Like he's somebody who notoriously can't stay off the court, or can't stay on the court. And I understand he's having the best season he's had in 6 years or something like that, 5 years. But it's also like, at what point do you make this move and you go, this is good for our organization? Like the future, this is bad, very bad. So I don't know. One of those things where I'm just like, you did this to yourself, and then, negativity and bad juju kind of came with that. And so that was the hardest thing for me, in terms of the whole deal kind of turning out the way it did and stuff like that. I don't know. It was one of those things. So that's kind of how I see the Blazers' path, is maybe you sneak into that 10 spot with Phoenix being bad. San Antonio is the next closest team to us, and with no Wemby, I'm not worried at all about them. We're gonna keep winning games. We're gonna keep competing, and we're gonna try to make a push. I know that obviously the organization has fully said that, and so is Chauncey Billups. So we're gonna make a push there, see what happens. Speaking of winning and competing with good teams, right now we play. So it's our day off today. Played Philadelphia yesterday and won. First half was ugly and competitive. Second half we kind of ran away with it. But Boston plays the best team in the NBA tomorrow, the Boston Celtics, and I'm curious how we'll come out. Especially it's an away game. I'm curious how Chauncey's going to get the guys riled up and ready. I think that right now everything that comes out of the Portland Trail Blazers, squad's mouth is really solid. Like they're saying all the right things, and now it's just a fact of putting it all together and making the product what everybody wants the product to be, and that's competing to win basketball games. In unison and together. So just one of those things where that has to become the main priority. But tomorrow against Boston, I mean, we are young and athletic enough to where we can run. I don't think they're going to play Kristaps Porzingis, so hopefully that remains the case. I'm looking to. I'm curious, and I really want that to be the case, that we come out and compete like we did against Cleveland, and we don't say, hey, this is a throwaway game. Like, we're in the hunt. We got to make a move here. The Blazers in February they were the fourth best defense in the NBA. No, I'm sorry, fourth best defense in the Western Conference, NBA. I can't remember. In January, they were top 5 in the NBA as well. So, like, the defense has been awesome. Like I said, Tamani and Denny have been incredible and super active on the defensive end, equally to the offensive end. Right now it's just really being composed on offense. Anthony is awesome, and he's been playing great for us for about a month, but there's still times where I see the ball stop with him, and he, really wants to settle for a sidestep three, which he makes sometimes, but sometimes he doesn't. And that can hurt us in some different situations. But Shaden just needs to keep shooting the ball. Scoot has been awesome. Scoot's getting others involved, which is great. And that's helping the team overall as well. So I'm really hoping we bring that energy tomorrow. The real keys for Boston, honestly, like I said, the problem with Boston is if you lose sight of your man at all, the odds are that guy shoots 40% from three. So you can't just let guys loose. You have to maintain your man, and this is where a game where like Shaden can really get exposed, and they can be like, all right, this is our guy we're going to pick on. So I'm curious to see how Shaden responds to that. Obviously, like offensively, he can do the things that other guys can do. It's just defensively, he's not there with, even being a good defender. He's a passable defender right now, and that needs to be stepping up. And Chauncey sent a message with that when he sat him. So tomorrow, keys to Boston are really just, understanding who the people are that need to be, paid attention to. That's, Jason Tatum, that's Jaylen Brown, that's Derek White, depending on if Drew plays, depending on if Porzingis plays. Pritchard's no slouch when he comes in. Just one of those things where it's like really, really difficult, and that's why this is one of the best teams in the NBA, one of the greatest records we've seen. Just an awesome squad. But once again, this is something where like the Blazers want to get to this level, and they want to be going into, games like this and competing as well as they can. So, come out tomorrow, compete, set the tone, sit in the freaking chair on defense and man up against your guy and attack the rim. We settled quite a bit against Cleveland in the back half of that game, so I didn't love that as much, and we've been settling a little bit more. That's why against Philadelphia, we also the first half didn't go as well as I wanted it to. We came out and we were attacking, but we also were taking a lot of threes. and so I think that takes us out of our offense a little bit, unless it's a kick out, catch and shoot. Those off the dribble ones for the Blazers right now, the way the team is structured, they're just not super successful for us. So one of those things where if the way that we generate threes matters, and so that's kind of what I think about, and that's kind of what I think about when I think about how we can beat those really solid teams and become that eventually, as an organization. So tomorrow, come out and fight, and be fast and play great defense and get out and run and do all those things and play Blazers basketball. But as far as competing tomorrow, I think that's what you're just looking to do: compete. At the end of the day, like I said, top team in the NBA. So you're just looking to compete and show that you are, trying to get on their level. But other than that, like I said, I'm going to be doing these videos kind of like in unison with the season. Ignore my kiddo here, my furry kiddo. But yeah, I think that I'll be doing these kind of in unison with the season, and I'll do them around games. Try to get them out on the days that the games are off. So if they have a back-to-back, I'll kind of talk about both games and really evaluate what's going on. So hit the subscribe, see if you can, and we are just getting this thing rolling. So like I said, I'm going to kind of have this in unison with my other series as well. So I'll still have that going, but appreciate you guys, and see you guys next time.